Hey, Chad. Good. How are you? Good. Not much. Hey. You shocked to see me?
Yeah.
How you doing? Good. How are you
Giving me
doing?
a hard time.
Yeah. I thought we were doing it last time. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
All good? All right. Call to order the regular council meeting for the town of Evansville. May I have roll call, please?
Mayor Chad Edwards.
Here.
Councilmember Candace Machado. Here. Councilmember Daisha Edwards. Here. Councilmember Greg Schleswig.
Here.
Councilmember Phil Gerke.
Here.
Town Attorney Scott Murray.
Here.
Town Engineer Shane Porter.
Here.
Chief of Police Mike Thompson has to be excused tonight. Fire Chief Leo Malsom.
Here.
Public Works Director Robert Llewellyn.
Here.
Town Clerk Janelle Underwood and the rest of the citizens.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
All motion?
Do I have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Item 1, consent agenda. Approval of the minutes for the regular meeting of November 13th, 2023 and work session November 20th, 2023. Approval of business license for Precision Roofing Pros. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I so moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Item 2, Mr. Steve Kurtz with CATSI.
I have Deanna Fry with me. She's a CATSI board member. Does this work?
Yes, absolutely.
I have artillery ears. I can't tell.
No worries.
I can't tell. So we came and saw you a while back and proposed that we have funds and would propose that if you bought city transit tokens, we would reimburse you for those and you'd give them to your residents. We didn't hear back at all. We have settled our lawsuit with the city. I think I sent that to Janelle. So we're back. I'd also suggest that maybe let me explain. We're also, in addition to having contracts with 6 social service agencies for tokens, we're also paying up to half for vehicles. The agencies are buying. We paid half for a van for the library, and how we work that as transit is they take their program to the school, and that saves 60 trips for students back and forth. Rather than bringing the students to the library, they take the program to the school. So that's 60 rides that they save. We bought half of a box truck for Joshua's storehouse. Today we approved grants for 3 agencies on the Trona County CAP. They have the healthcare clinic at Life Steps. Plus, they have some of their own clients that they provide services to and take them around. Central Wyoming Counseling. And there's a new house for unaccompanied students that was built in Mills. And so we paid for half of a vehicle for them to take their students to school and to other places. We have a lot of money left. We'd like to use some of it with you folks. Thought I had, and I asked Janelle, how old is your bus? And I think she said it's not old enough to replace, but young enough to sell, but not old enough to repaint, or whatever that song is. If it's not too old, maybe we could reimburse you for half of your local match. I don't know if you pay 5 or 10% for local match. The buses are about 60,000, as I recall.
Yeah, I'd have to look.
Yeah. Or if you want to wait, and we could reimburse you for local match on your next bus. You know, they seem to wear out pretty fast. They do. So, basically, the settlement with the city said that the CATSI board was exonerated.
I very much appreciate the letter that you sent. I think that was great. And I'm very interested in the idea of assisting with the next bus. I think our current bus was already been expended. It's in a prior year's budget, so that's already been put there. But we always have a hard time coming up with the funds in these budgets in order to make everything balance out.
Sure.
So I think I would really welcome having that discussion of getting your help and assistance.
Okay.
As you said, these buses don't last long, and we know before we blink an eye, we're going to be looking at another one.
Yeah.
So I'd be very open to
Okay.
having that conversation.
So
All
just to
council.
clarify, what are we proposing, or what is our discussion? I guess from your discussion you just had, I'm not clear on what we're asking for here.
Well, in my opinion, we're not asking for anything. Steve and the CATSI board has come up with an offer. And my thought there was just that it would be a welcome discussion to have as we're looking to replace our next bus, which I'm sure
Sure.
will be coming up before we know it.
Right.
That was my thought.
Right. And how the buses work is you apply to YDOT. You work with City Transit. You own the bus. City Transit operates it. They operate the Mills bus. You pay them a portion of the operating cost when it comes time for a new bus. And I think they're around 60,000. They may be 80,000 by now. YDOT orders them. They spec them out with you. They order them. And the YDOT program is they'll pay 90 or 95%. I'm not sure. It's either 5 or 10% local match, but we'd be certainly willing to help you pay that local match. And as you said, the buses get a lot of miles on them and they get old real fast. And then you see them, you dispose of them. What'd you do with your last one? You know?
Sold it.
We saw it, and we put it
Yeah,
for auction.
it's sold on public surplus.
Yeah. And you see them around with social service agencies using them, you know, for their own purposes.
Suffice it to say, there's not a lot of money to recoup there on the sale of those buses.
There is not a lot of money. I think one time there was a CATSI bus that was for sale on a used car lot in Rapid City for $2,500.
Probably good.
Yeah. Yeah. So the price isn't what costs, it's the operating. So
So I guess I got a question. When you're talking about our bus, is it the bus that services? Evans?
Yes.
Correct.
yes, you own the bus.
Okay. So that's the one that picks people up.
It's
here.
the orange route. Yes.
Okay. Perfect. Okay.
That goes through town and meets the blue bus at Walmart. And then now you help Casper out. You go out east, further east, and then back into town, as I recall.
Any other questions for Mr. Kurtz? Thank you very much. We appreciate your offer.
Well, let us know.
We definitely will. Thank you so much. Appreciate
Okay.
your time. All right, item 3 is ordinance number 6, 2023.
Mr. Mayor and Council, brought before you tonight is ordinance 6-2023. This is an ordinance granting a franchise to Quest Corporation, DBA CenturyLink QC on behalf of itself and its operating affiliate CenturyLink to operate and maintain telecommunications system in the town of Evansville, Wyoming. Brought before you tonight on third and final reading. And I don't know if you had noticed in the packet, on the back of it, there is a memorandum of insurance that's been added to
I
it.
seen that, and then I think if I read the portion in the agreement that it says as long as they're supposed to supply it in the agreement, it doesn't necessarily have to be on the certificate. Is that correct?
That's correct. And,
Okay. I
and,
just want to make sure I read that right.
Councilman Gergie, I did follow up with the contact at Lumen on this issue. And I believe that once the governing body has approved and signed off on this ordinance, at that point in time, it's a contract between the parties and they can, I think, provide us with a separate certificate of insurance that would actually have the town's name listed as an additional insurance.
Because even if it's not on there, I think the wording was that as long as it's in the contract,
Yep.
that it's.
So I think even without a certificate like that, the town is
Correct.
covered under
Because
under
it's
this
covered under the
MOI.
agreement. Yeah.
Right.
And thank you for taking care of that.
Yep, absolutely.
Any other questions about ordinance number 6? I have a motion to approve ordinance number 6, 2023.
I move.
We have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ordinance passes. Item 4, the approval of emergency work on the town hall sewer line.
Mr. Mayor and Council, I'm sorry. We've received 2 bids from, one from Crown Construction and one from Andreen Hunt, to replace the sewer line inside the building out to the main, approximately 200 feet of sewer line. I'd say probably 60 feet of it or so is cast iron, and it is in dire need of being replaced. You get up to the parking lot, there's a lot of low spots, a lot of places where the camera was underwater the entire time. In the process of finding problems with the sewer line, it flooded the basement, which we refer to as flood number 2. We was in the process of getting contracts or getting estimates from contractors to repair damages from flood number 1 that took place in June. So in talking with the contractors, these 2 contractors want to do all the job or none of it all. They don't want a portion of doing maybe the flood damages while another contractor is repairing the sewer line, vice versa. They want it all or none. So Crown Construction, they provided us an estimate to replace the sewer line at $223,795 with an additional $70,000 in repairs for the flood repair work. Andreen Hunt, they provided a proposal to replace the sewer line at $207,212 with an additional $110,000 roughly in repairs for the damages from flood number 1 and flood number 2. So the grand total from Andreen Hunt, their total is $317,726. Crown Construction's grand total would be $293,795. Now, I've got on the agenda tonight to approval for emergency work for the town hall sewer line. So what I'm not sure is, because Andreen Hunt did come in lower for the sewer line repair than Crown Construction is lower in the repairs for flood number 1 and flood number 2. So overall, Crown Construction's prices are lower than Andreen Hunt. And I don't know if you've got anything that you want to add to that?
Not really. I mean, it's just, I think if you're prepared to move forward with all of it, the total lower price is probably the better way to look at it, I suppose. If we're just prepared to do the sewer line, then that's a different story. But if we're moving forward with everything needs replaced, it's probably better to look at the grand total.
And I think it's probably important because it has disrupted the police department. I feel like we do have to look at doing it as a whole.
And another piece of information there is that we actually flooded twice within a week because we had the lines cleaned out and they were all cleared out. But due to the condition of these lines, they're just immediately capturing material again. And it caused almost an immediate clog again within a week. So.
And I should note, in flood number 1, the property insurance will help pay for those damages, as well as FEMA is involved. In flood number 2, the property insurance will help pay for those damages. So in the long run, we won't be expending this total amount of money. We will see some funding coming back. I just don't know how much.
I do have just a little bit of input that I just got. And I should have thought about doing this before, but I've been sick and I just kind of got out of the step in. But anyway, I called and talked to a friend of mine, Greg Pope, that owns Pope Construction. And they just sold and he's gonna be completely out, so I figured he'd be pretty unbiased. He said that he thought both of the companies were reputable. He said that Crown Construction, White Oak's been letting them bid work for them. They've been bidding work for the city of Casper, and they have been coming in lower. And he thought that they were probably a good company. And they are basically new. It's an old name, but all the people are new. And I also asked him about if he knew of anybody else that did this type of work. And he said that on the project for the billiard place out here, that they're using Coleman.
Mhm.
So, but I think at this point to go back and start getting another bid and all this other stuff, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I agree. I think since they appear to be equal, that we should probably look at the lower bid.
Now, it's my understanding as far as scheduling the lower bid, Crown Construction could address this quicker by a few weeks, 2-3 weeks.
That's what it sounds like. Yeah, I mean, actually, they said they could start this week. But they did say, I mean, there's a caveat, and I don't know, Mike's got to get involved, but if for them to come in and do it, they really need everybody out of the basement. And I don't know how that functions and how that works for Mike and his crew, but there's a lot of dust. There's saw cutting the floors. I mean, a lot of dust and jackhammer. I mean, the noise, it's just going to be almost unworkable conditions. So, and it'll help speed it up if they're out of there. So something else that's going to have to be a logistical issue that's going to have to be addressed. So.
Yeah, I think safety reasons and just for the health of everybody, that's probably the best.
It probably won't even be very enjoyable upstairs.
Probably won't.
We do have a C-can that's going to be delivered tomorrow so that the police department can start moving some stuff out of the basement into that, as well as I'm working on getting porta potties lined up for use.
Any other questions, thoughts?
And I don't know, do you see an issue with
I mean, in terms of the agenda, just being for emergency work sewer line, I mean, to my reading, these other floods are, attendant to that sewer line issue. So I don't think that there's a problem in not, having sewer line and repair of flood damage for 2 different floods separately listed out in the agenda for purposes of meeting the Public Meetings Act requirements.
Well, there's no other discussion. Do I have a motion to move forward with the emergency work on town hall? Do we have a second?
I second.
Any discussion?
And is the contractor the lowest?
Oh, yes.
That's why Mike.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And going with the bid of Crown Construction for $293,795. We have a second? Okay, we have a second?
I will second.
All right, all those or any discussion on this? All those in favor?
So, just one quick thing. So what are we doing with the police department? I'm sorry, I missed part of that.
We will have,
I mean, what, are we gonna come up with a plan later on where to put them?
yeah, we'll have to talk to the chief
Okay.
and figure out
okay.
what we can do to
Okay.
relocate them. I know we set up some temporary space over at the community center
Okay.
to help alleviate some of the concerns they've got downstairs. So, but ultimately, I think that's something we'll have to discuss with the chief and figure out what fits their operation
Okay.
best. It will take I don't know that we have a definite timeline.
Crown, when I talked to Crown this morning, they felt like they could get it done in a 3-week window.
The sewer line.
3
The
weeks.
sewer line, yes, the sewer line, just the sewer. line.
Then that's just the sewer line. So then we'll have the fixing all of the things that are tore up downstairs. So my guess is that we'd easily be over a month. So,
And with Christmas and New Year's.
right, holidays and everything else going on, but
February.
I think it's, also the ability to start moving right away. It's been quite an inconvenience downstairs. I know we've had to close down operations, fingerprints, things like that. And it's been a struggle. Thank goodness the police department's been working around and doing what they can. But in my mind, getting the issue resolved and getting things back to business is an important component. So. All right, I think we have a motion in a second. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
All right, 3 for, 1 against. Motion passes. Item 5, the engineer's report.
So a couple things tonight. I'd mentioned at staff meeting last week, and I'm not sure everybody was at staff meeting, but we opened bids November 16th for the Lathrop Road Pathway Project. We received 5 bids on the 16th. There was Crown Construction, 71 Construction, Andreen Hunt Construction, Wayne Coleman Construction, and Knife River Construction. We had 5 bids. I don't know if I need to read the numbers, but the bids range from $843,698.75 to, as a low bid, to a high bid of $1,313,151.20. Fairly wide range of bids, but so the low bid is actually about 27% higher than the engineer's estimate, which I completed in May of 2023. It's about 41% higher than the original estimate I completed when we did the grant application 2.5 years ago. So prices are, have gone up a lot in the last 2.5 years. So a pretty significant increase to the budget of the project. The original construction budget for my estimate during the application was $600,000, and your low bid was $843,700. So a very significant increase to that. So based on those numbers and that additional cost, we had a conversation with YDOT this morning to talk about ways to proceed. But basically, after that discussion, and then from discussions we've had at staff and with the mayor, my recommendation is to reject all bids at this time, and we can reconsider some options moving forward. Basically, there are really 2 options. There's come up with the additional funds through town monies or additional grant monies, which there is a possibility of using some funds from another source that we got to look into. And then the other option is to reduce the scope of the project and rebid. And so, those are the options going forward. My recommendation is probably going to be, depending on that other funding option, to reduce the scope and move forward, and then apply for another TAP grant to finish the rest of the project. So that's, I guess, open for discussion, but I think at this point, my recommendation is to reject all bids at this time.
Any questions for?
So I think we need a motion to that
I have a
effect.
motion to reject all bids on the
All motion.
Lathrop pathway.
I second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
On the same project, we have a drawdown request to submit tonight. I usually let these, this is for WLC invoices from July, August, and September. I usually let them accumulate a while before I come in here and do one drawdown request. So I've got that tonight. WLC's invoices for July, August, and September total $6,916.85. The grant reimburses 80%, so the total drawdown request is $5,533.48. That leaves a remaining balance on the grant of $563,215.86. So just recommend a motion to have the mayor sign and submit drawdown request number 6 for reimbursement to the town. So.
Any questions? I have a motion to approve drawdown number 6.
I move. Oh, go ahead. I move.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
You opposed? All right, motion passes. All right, do I have a motion to approve the engineer's report?
All motion.
I second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Council updates. Do we have any council updates this evening?
I just got one quick one. I'm still battling the railroad. I hope I live long enough to get that done. You know, but just to let you know where we are right now, they are actually doing a huge conference call on Wednesday, and my contact in Cheyenne is not quite as unhappy as I am, but he's pretty close, because they've been lying to him also about when this stuff is going to be done and blah, blah, blah. So hopefully, I'm hoping that later this week we will have a definite answer. So, but it's been a real treat. Everybody ought to try it one time.
I don't believe you're the first. So, thank you. Any other updates?
I have nothing.
All right. We'll open up for public comments. You have any public comments this evening? Public comments? All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
All motion.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Meeting adjourned at 7:29.